I know I'm a bit late on the story. I was out of town. I got engaged. My wonderful fiance Liz is, I guess, wonderful. I had a great time with her out of town, and we got engaged in my favorite place in the world. I was really excited about that. But while I was gone, J.J. Watt signed with the Arizona Cardinals, a 2-year deal worth $31 million, $23 million guaranteed. And there's really two possibilities here. Either, number one, J.J. Watt signing in Arizona is really a vote of confidence in the Cardinals head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, or the Cardinals massively overpaid for J.J. Watt. So there's two options here. Either it's a mistake or it's a good thing and it's a sign of good things to come. Basically, the question is, will Arizona win moving forward? Seems like most people saw that amount of money that J.J. Watt got, people in the know, and went, oh, that's a lot. That's more than I thought J.J. Watt was going to get. And I will say, even though J.J. Watt is, he's 31 years old, he's still a great leader, and he still can contribute on the field to some degree. Like, he's not a bum. He can play, even if he's not what he once was, and that still remains to be seen. So I think that Cardinals did a good thing bringing him in just for their locker room. You have a good leader. He's a veteran. He can play. He's going to contribute a lot on your defense, and I would hope elevate the defense in Arizona. But here's the question. We're all sold on the Cardinals quarterback, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, number 1 overall pick out of Oklahoma, Heisman Trophy winner, fantastic quarterback. He's unbelievably good. I think we all go, yeah, Kyler Murray, he works. He's great. But we still have questions about the Cardinals head coach, Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury had a losing record in college. He was a college head coach at Texas Tech. Had a losing record there, got fired. And in 2 years in Arizona, his best record was last year, 8-8. And that's like, oh, 8-8? Come on, buddy. You have great players. You brought in DeAndre Hopkins. There's all this hype. We expect you to be better. And so far, Cliff Kingsbury also has a losing record in the NFL. And so a lot of people are like, look, Cliff Kingsbury, nice guy. People, his house is dope. He seems like a cool dude, but he can't win football games. That's what a lot of people have been hearing say, and I kind of get it. And I believe J.J. Watt was going to go somewhere where he obviously was going to win games. A team like Tampa Bay or Kansas City, something like that, where you're like, oh, this team is an obvious contender for a Super Bowl. Because you're like, well, J.J. Watt wants to go out on top before he retires. So it's kind of what I thought he was going to do. Now, I can't imagine myself turning down $23 million to go live in Arizona. Like, hey, play football, live in Arizona, and for $23 million guaranteed, I would do that in a heartbeat. So I can't imagine what that decision is like. But it does seem like winning in Arizona is going to be an uphill battle. Despite the good players they have there, can the coach win? Is Cliff Kingsbury good enough to turn things around and make that happen? So I don't know, but I will say it's possible. So either Arizona paid too much money for an aging veteran, or J.J. Watt, it's possible, contributes to them turning things around in Arizona, which I love that idea. The Cardinals have a ton of offensive weapons. They have notably quarterback Kyler Murray, wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins is J.J. Watt's former teammate in Houston with the Texans. The Cardinals have defensive coordinator Vance Joseph, who coached J.J. Watt in Houston in 2011, 2012, and 2013. They won playoff games together. They did well, Vance Joseph and J.J. Watt together. So Vance Joseph, the Cardinals' defensive coordinator, has been a defensive coordinator for J.J. Watt before, in the past. He's also being paired, J.J. Watt's being paired with Chandler Jones, who, this is an obscure stat. People said, well, since 2012, nobody has more sacks than Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt. Part of that's longevity, part of that's whatever. It's a bit obscure. They're both 31 years old. But I will say, there are some good players around J.J. Watt in Arizona where you go, hey, this is an opportunity where possibly, if things go right, they could win in Arizona. And I'd love to see that, right? It's been a long time. Kurt Warner had a brief stint doing very well in Arizona. Carson Palmer did very well briefly. But we haven't seen Arizona really have a young quarterback turn things around, become a perennial flagship, what's like a tentpole franchise in the NFL where they're winning for a long time, sustained. I guess sustained winning is what I'm trying to say. So maybe they just overpaid for a veteran J.J. Watt, a guy who's a defensive lineman, 31 years old. But it's also possible that in 2021, the winning is going to begin in Arizona. Like either things are going to change, or that's very. I guess now that I say that out loud, it's like very obvious. It's going to be good or bad, but I don't. It could go one or two ways. It's hard to really predict that. I can't tell you. I think I lean towards it's going to be good for Arizona. That's because I'm kind of a fan. I like Kyler Murray. I'd like to see that do well. But it's also possible that J.J. Watt is just old and aging, and the coach isn't going to work. So I can't predict the future. I don't know. I have to acknowledge that both realities are possible. Either it's going to work or it's not. But I'm very curious to see like what happens in Arizona. Is J.J. Watt the thing that's going to turn the tide and help them win? I mean, they're doing everything they can in Arizona. They're spending money. They're bringing in young quarterbacks. They are bringing in other players. I like what's happening in Arizona. I hope it works. But it's possible they just paid more money than anyone else was willing to pay J.J. Watt for an aging veteran defensive lineman. I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. I lean towards Arizona's going to do well. But again, I am biased. I have an emotional, I want to see Arizona do well. I've got an emotional connection there. So I'm excited to see if the Cardinals can start winning. But we will find out moving forward. I would be very happy if J.J. Watt was the thing that turned the tide and started winning to happen and begin in Arizona with the Cardinals.